Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first Fireside Chat for Trey Season 3. My name is LaJoy Royston, and I'm the Program Director for Trey Athletes, and we are so happy that you're here to join us tonight. Tonight, we're hosting our Fireside Chat with Ben Hunt and Rolando Blackman on the power and culture of sports. Tonight's chat will start with a moderator discussion, followed by a question and answer session. All of you are encouraged to submit your questions you may have for our speakers with the question and answer function. During the question and answer session, you will have the opportunity to appear on video to ask your questions live if you like. For all of the Season 3 participants who are with us tonight, I'd like to share a special reminder to you that your team has the opportunity to win a pizza party from Trey by engaging with us on social media. You can tag us at Trey Athletes on Instagram and Twitter. For additional rules on this contest, check out our pages. This Fireside Chat is presented by Trey Athletes. Trey Athletes is a Dallas-based youth sports nonprofit, and our mission is to empower athletes to be leaders, role models, and influential voices for their communities. We believe that by providing high school athletes with the opportunity to learn from amazing speakers who will provide insight and tips for success, you will gain the skills you need to succeed on and off the court or field. After this Fireside Chat, you'll reflect on your learnings in your team's debrief sessions. And with that, I'm going to pass it along to my colleague, Mr. Brian Reynolds. Thank you.
Thank you so much, LaJoy, and welcome, everyone. I'm Brian Reynolds, co-founder and co-CEO of Trey Athletes, and tonight we're talking with two current Dallas Mavericks employees, both of whom have had incredibly impressive basketball careers, and who will be telling us all about their personal experiences with the power and the culture of sport. First up is we're going to just provide some shared bios here to lay the groundwork and get everything started. And to start is our good friend and Mavs youth basketball director, Ben Hunt. Ben is originally from Bendigo, Australia, where he began his professional basketball career with the Bendigo Braves at the age of 16. Ben then moved to the US to play in college, first at Stephen F. Austin as a 2-year letter winner before transferring to Texas Wesleyan University. There, Ben twice earned first-team All-Conference, including taking home Conference Player of the Year and NAIA All-American honors his senior season. That same year, Ben led his team to an NAIA National Championship, scoring 34 points and hitting the game-winning shot in the championship game. Whew. After NBA tryouts and the Summer League with Mavericks, Ben returned home to Australia to play professionally for a few more years before later returning to Dallas to work in education and youth sports. Currently, at the Mavs, Ben oversees all of the Mavs academy programming, youth leagues, coaches association, and the Mavs Ball Kid program. And in 2019, Ben was the youngest to ever be inducted into the Texas Wesleyan Athletic Hall of Fame. Thanks so much for joining us, Ben.
Brian, thank you. Such a pleasure to be here, and I can't wait to get started.
That makes two of us, my man. Next up, let's welcome Dallas Mavericks legend, Rolando Blackman. Ro played 13 years in the NBA, including 11 seasons with the Mavs. He was drafted 9th overall out of Kansas State, where he graduated with his degree in sociology. At K-State, Ro was an All-American, Big 8 Player of the Year, 3-time All-Conference player, and 3-time Big 8 Defensive Player of the Year. Born in Panama City and raised in Brooklyn, New York, Rolando is the #2 leading scorer in Mavs history, trailing only Dirk Nowitzki. Ro is a 4-time NBA All-Star, and he's famous for hitting 2 clutch free throws at the end of the 1987 All-Star game to secure the win with his teammates Magic Johnson, Hakeem Olajuwon, and beating Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, and Dr. J. As he yelled out after making his second free throw, "It's all about confidence, baby, confidence." Rolando went on to play in Europe and work as an assistant coach for the German national team, and his jersey has been retired by both K-State as well as the Mavs. Since 2004, Ro has been back with the Mavs, working as a TV analyst, an assistant coach, and now in the front office as both vice president for partnerships as well as director of basketball development. Welcome, Rolando.
Wow, Brian, thank you so very much. I'm glad to be here. Great time to get started too. Hello, everybody.
Pleasure is all ours. So both Ben and Rolando have lived the experience and really the power of sport, both here in the US and internationally. We're absolutely thrilled to have these incredible guys talking with us today about the ways in which sports connects, unites, inspires, and creates opportunity for players and fans alike. And as our program director, LaJoy, already discussed, we at Trey Athletes are focused on teaching high potential high school athletes how to come alive through sports, both on and off the quarter field. So to start, we think it's crucial for everyone to understand why athletes specifically have a louder microphone than their peers. Sports are a crucial part of society, connecting and influencing all of us. In many ways, sports are bigger than individual athletes or teams. Sports connect teams to towns like the Mavs to Dallas, fans to players like all of us to Rolando and Ben, and families to one another. Today, we'll cover a few questions regarding the power and the culture of sport. So to start, let's go way back to Bendigo, Australia, and Panama City, Panama. Ben, if you want to kick us off, and then Pastor Rolando, talk to us about your journey growing up with basketball outside of the US and what the sport meant to you as a kid.
Brian, absolutely. Thank you. The biggest thing for me, growing up and really getting opportunity within basketball was really trying many sports and many activities. I think what's important is, and what was important to me and helped me tremendously was, getting a chance to be involved in many different activities and sports. Because when I got to an age where and I was a sophomore in high school, I was 15, and I decided that basketball was it. That's the direction I wanted to go. So within my hometown of Bendigo, as you mentioned, I got a chance to practice with and train with the senior team, which was great, which gave me a lot of experience competing against men, as a 15-year-old, which certainly helped. So having that opportunity was tremendous. And then, for me, the ultimate goal, and you saw it in the graphic at the start, was to play professional basketball in Australia. At that point, that was my goal. I made that decision. Like I mentioned, having tried and played other sports, basketball was my passion. And I really got that opportunity to do that when I got a chance to come over to the US to go to college. And that was big for me, because to achieve that, and many young Australians, girls and boys now, are just looking for the opportunity to get over here. So knowing that when you are here and whether it's here locally in Dallas or just in the US in general, that you have that opportunity that many from around the world want to have, and that is to either attend high school here in the US, to pursue that in this case for me, basketball career, and to see how far it could take me. So Stephen F. Austin was where I got a chance to get my college experience at a small D1 school in East Texas and Nacogdoches, and that was tremendous. A great opportunity there to really see if my experiences would get me a chance to get back to Australia to play pro. And I got a chance to had 2 years of eligibility, so I got a chance to go back and try out for a couple of teams that didn't work out. But on my return to the US, as you mentioned in my intro, to attend Texas Wesleyan, the biggest focus there was then academics, knowing that I needed to take care of everything in the classroom in order to succeed post my basketball career. Hands down, so important. And really sometimes when you switch your focus a little bit, other things work out. And for me, our success at Texas Wesleyan, NAIA national champions, in a position to take the shot to win it, then opened many doors. And one of those was to go back to Australia and play professional basketball with the Perth Wildcats for a couple of years. So that's a bit of background on my journey to get to achieve my goal and live my dream on the basketball court, but all the while, preparing myself for life after. And I know we're going to touch on that here in just a minute, but Ro, I'll pass it over to you.
And Ro, I'm going to ask you to unmute if you can.
One of the producers, somebody muted me because I never mute myself. So. But I wanted to tell everybody, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Ben. I mean, it's so wonderful to being able to share and make sure people understand, kids, coaches, everybody, that there's always a path. The important factor for me was that growing up in Panama City, I came, I was there in Panama City playing soccer. That was my first sport, kicking that ball around and running around. And I came to this country on a student visa. At the age of 5, I got this red piece of paper, I remember it correctly, and got the opportunity to come to the United States 3 years later at the age of 8, and playing soccer going to remedial reading classes all the time in the morning, porque cada día estamos hablando la lengua de español y nada están hablando la lengua de inglés y estoy aquí en las clases. Ay, 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 ¿cómo están? Estoy en los Estados Unidos. I'm here in the United States, a brand new young kid trying to learn, trying to get myself there as far as all of that's concerned. But the country was ready for me, gave me an opportunity to really get a chance to go to school in the mornings, understanding of new language, new places that I was going to be in, and really took the course in moving forward by playing soccer. I didn't start playing actual basketball till I was about 10 years old, 2 years of playing soccer by myself in the Brooklyn, New York streets, and had to try to get some friends and all those kinds of situations going on. So it was just a growing up process too, but I had a good neighborhood. I had my mom came 3 years later, so I was there with my grandmother in Brooklyn, New York, East Flatbush. And the important factor was that I had people at school, teachers, coaches, people who cared, people who were able to give me a chance to nurture me in the right ways of doing things. Because of course, at that time in the 60s in New York City, there was so much going on as far as the upheaval of new life and all the things that were happening in New York City. So for me, it was just the opportunity to come with the fervor, the internal force and fire of wanting to make good, but then having the opportunity there, but always having people in my life that were able to whisper in my ear and being able to guide me to the right path. And in that mixture, I got a chance to flourish and to move forward in many, many different ways too. So when I picked up that basketball at the age of 10, I was able to start to move forward and get cut a lot, that's for sure, because I was cut in the 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. I didn't play basketball till 10th grade JV team. The whole JV team moved up to the junior. So in those years of growth, going to classes, going to school, I was going to the church and being a choir boy for 4 years. It was just a fantastic opportunity in this new world, but being taught at every level by the people whispering in my ear on what the path is. So that was a big deal for me, though. To every piece of the life scope was ready for me to being able to move forward and help me along the way.
Ro and Ben, those are phenomenal stories. Hearing both of you guys talk about how sport provided you with opportunity and gave you really a gateway into new opportunities and new experiences, both through basketball as well as in your lives. So I think kind of to fast forward now to today, both of you have obviously enjoyed phenomenal careers, both on and off the basketball court. And even now, after your playing days are over, both of you have stayed really close to the game. Rolando, can you tell us more about why you chose to build your post-sport career in the business and really the business side of basketball?
Well, I think for me, the important factor was that as the time had gone on, I spent a lot of time, though. Brian, really spent a lot of time in the game. When you talk about trying to be the very best you possibly can, you have to focus in on what you need to get accomplished, and you have to try to find out what level is it that you want to perform in? Where is it that you fit? And then trying to make up the gaps, if there are any, in the things that you needed to do. People don't realize I practiced for 5 to 6 hours a day during the summer times after the season was over to being able to put that ball in the hole at my behest. And that was the most important thing, not what anybody else wanted to do or what they were thinking. It was just a special relationship between me, the ball, and the rim. And I was trying to get that stuff going. And later on, as the time went on, playing all these games, finishing up a career, having the opportunity, is that I have a lot of stuff in here, a lot of stuff in my head on how to get there, the pitfalls, the feelings. Everybody thinks a pro doesn't get nervous or anything like that. We get nervous. We understand the fear within that whole thing, but the fear has to come from wanting to perform, wanting to put your work at play. That's what you want to do. You want to feel that burn inside because you want to show what I've been working on. Not try to trick somebody and all of a sudden get out there and be nervous because you didn't put the work in and now you know the lights are coming on. It's a different scope. So I just wanted to get involved. Ben gives me a lot of opportunity now with the Mavs and the different pieces of the puzzle to be able to speak, to being able to teach, to being able to be around kids and different people all the time, to being able to just infuse some thought process and the levels in which you say you want to go to, and then find out if that matches your head. but mostly see if it matches your heart to being able to put the work in. So I love being around the game, and I have a lot in here and I want to get it out. And the important factor is that it's all love and care and comes from great understanding.
Could not agree more. And Ben, on your side of the house, you obviously focus primarily on youth sports and education. Can you talk to us about why you decided to make that specific sort of segment, if you will, your area of expertise?
Absolutely, Brian. It's I have a saying that I certainly try to live by, and that is, to help your future self. And for me, it started really at the age of 15. We mentioned back in Bendigo, where I grew up. Any opportunities there was for me to get involved in camps or clinics or volunteer my time to stay involved in the game off the court. Really, way back then as a teenager. Fast forward 27 years, and here I am doing the same thing now. Now I'm just in a position to lead it, with the Mavs, which is just a wonderful opportunity. And that brings me to my next point about opportunity. Another thing that I like to say, especially to our coaches and to our staff, is, if you have an opportunity, say yes, figure the rest out later. And what does that mean? That means any opportunities that come my way, yes. I don't know whether I can or I can't right now, but I'm going to say yes, because if I don't, then someone else will. And that opportunity may not come my way again. So learned that along the way as well is to make sure, if you can, and there's going to be situations and circumstances where you cannot, and that's fine. But it's always that initial reaction is, yes, I can do that. I'm there. I'm prepared. I'm ready. And Ro just touched on as well about the preparation, 5-6 hours a day. There's no wonder he has his jersey retired in the top of the AAC. There's no wonder, because that's the work that goes into it. But to get there, you have to sacrifice, obviously, the work that goes into it. Working hard is one thing, working smart is another, understanding what goes into all that. And really, for me now, the position that I'm in, we're so fortunate to be back in the gym safely this summer, obviously, which is great, to get back in the community, which is what it is all about. And that's what we do, Ro and I. It's community, it's impact, it's, the kids and the sport. So, like I said, from the age of 15, I was sort of getting myself ready for position to stay in the game, to continue to have an impact, give back to the game that has given me so much. Obviously the opportunity to travel the world is just one of them. Meeting people, networking, different experiences is another. And to still be so fortunate to be part of the game, to give back, like I said, and of course too, obviously to be able to be in a position with the Mavs is just fantastic. So a lot of things have come, for me, in regards to the hard work. Some would say luck, but I'm a believer in creating your own, and the work you put in is what you're going to get out of it.
Strong words, Ben. I could not agree more. And I think that one of the things that we like to talk about at Trey, and one of the quotes that we cite really frequently as it relates to both of your experiences, comes from Nelson Mandela. So the South African anti-apartheid leader. Nelson said, "Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sport can create hope where once there was only despair." To add to that, it's really why the Olympics were started, right? To bring countries together through sport. And the United Nations still passes resolutions before every Olympic Games called the Olympic Truce, where they actually urge all countries to stop war or conflict for 7 days prior to the games beginning, all the way through until 7 days after the games end. So both of you guys were born outside the United States, which we've obviously covered, and you've both played basketball at an incredibly high level, both here in the US and globally. So I guess, Ben, this next one, if you want to kick us off, and Ro, then we'll come back to you as well. Talk to us about your experiences with sports as a means to see the world and really to unite global communities.
Absolutely. It has really for me. And, because growing up outside of the US, we used to see one NBA game on a Friday night, which was at 11 o'clock at night, and it's just like, we would, put VCR in to record, and just hopefully it worked out the next morning that we could watch it if it were. So really to come from another country, especially to the US, but along the journey to be able to have the opportunity to visit other countries, see how other cultures live, and prepare for sports and play sports, but yet how it unites, has been once again another blessing. Like several countries that I've been a part of and have had a chance to visit all of Australia as well. It's really, really special, but you can see the excitement, the enjoyment. One that sticks out when I was playing with the Perth Wildcats, we got a chance to visit Taipei in Taiwan, and just an absolutely phenomenal experience, and just how well we were treated, how excited the fans were to be in arena to visit with, and for us, it was just a great opportunity to live and breathe another culture, for that short period of time. But still, I'm talking about it today. So the impact that it had on me to be able to travel the world, to meet many new people, because you never know. And obviously now with social media, the world seems much smaller, but along the way, along the journey, to make those connections, those strong connections, those friendships and relationships can really come back to you and really be beneficial in many ways. And not what you can do for me, but what can I actually do for you, and how can I help you, and what opportunities can I give you. And we have a Mavs experience that we have when we have traveling international teams come over and stop by and see us during December and January. And we've had a couple from Australia, and that's been really really great for me to be close to home. But yet I'm now here in Dallas with the Mavericks at the arena watching a game. This was a couple of seasons back, obviously, but for me, that brings the most joy, because now it's not look what I'm doing, it's look what I get to share with you, and you can take part in and experience what I get to experience on a daily basis. So working towards that and understanding that, and not taking anything for granted, but also living in the moment is extremely important.
I was at the Mavs Sixers game last year when the Australian team came through, and it's just so incredible to see cultures connect through sport. I could not agree more, Ben. And Ro, you've obviously, we talked about how you played in Europe. We talked about how you coached in Europe. You've really been not just a man about town, but a man about the entire globe when it comes to the way that you've really been able to harness the power of sport and the power of basketball to take you all over the place. So talk to us about that.
Listen, though, what's most important for me and what we're talking about is just so fantastic, because I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, East Flatbush. And I know we're in Texas where everybody's like New York City, but it was something special for me, because we had all kinds of people from different backgrounds from everywhere, Puerto Rico, from Oman, Jordan. We had people from Africa, all over the place, from different parts of the world. So we grew up in this kind of little melting pot, understanding different cultures, learning to respect different cultures, understanding the importance that internally everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants good things for their family, gets their kids to school, taking care of the business, having a chance for a good future, and living the day together with friends and being able to understand it. So I understood that when I got to the country right away, and that carried on over to Kansas State University, where we had the opportunity to see many people from many different places. It was wonderful, little old Manhattan, Kansas, right down from your school, Brian, which I'm still jealous of today, so close to Kansas City. But we'll talk about that later. But the important factor with the game of basketball is that it just brought everyone together with the right attitude. White guy, this guy, whatever black guy, whatever it is, the important factor is that you share the common theme of trying to win, trying to come together, finding the common goal, learning about each other's humanity, really having an opportunity to uplift each other, becoming actual friends, which is the most tremendous thing. People don't realize, and I still tell the story all the time, is that when I was going to school and running around all over the place, is that I had a friend right up the block by the name of Dominic Casal. Dominic Casal is a little Jewish kid, small kid. He wasn't gonna play any sports or whatever the deal is, but he was my best friend because why? He liked to go to the library, and so did I. We got a chance to go back and forth with that. And many days, people don't even know it today, is that Dominic's mom, when we went over there to get something to eat, he had this little cap on his head all the time. And I'm saying, what is this? What is this? And it was a yarmulke. I, as a black person, wore a yarmulke to school for like 3-4 days with a little bobby pin, those old days, and stick it in my hair. But it's just because we're friends. We weren't trying to be this way, that way. It was just getting an opportunity to grow together. We had coming from different cultures, different backgrounds, different understandings of things. He went his way at school, but for me, the international travel of having first an international relationships, but having good friends throughout the time. I've traveled all over. I'm an international ambassador to the Office of Drugs and Crime. Human trafficking, child soldiering are my expertise pieces when I go do basketball camps, when I go do work for the United Nations. I'm all over the world. I got an opportunity to be there for the last 10, 12 years. I go throughout the summer. And what you realize and find out that playing the game, playing the sport, everybody is basically the same situation. You have different rules or regulations, different religious bases, different ways to get into the same place of love, care, family, joy, trying to move forward in that way. And within that, I get a chance to teach the game, which is the same everywhere, and really having an opportunity to come together with people, which is most important. I always know that people have to know and understand my own story, because you have to know and understand never to quit. Always present yourself, always have the focus, always know that things inside of you can come to fruition if you don't stop. You put yourself in that mode and success will find you. It may be a goal you started with, but you may end up somewhere else, but it's still the same path because people will see you. People understand that this kid wants it, and society, will work to get you there because they see how hard you're busting your tail to be the best you possibly can be. And that's where the societal relationships that Ben talks about all the time comes right into play, because you want it and society wants it for you. And that's the important part of a community, and really having those kind of things too. Basketball becomes something very, very special, but you get a chance to see the community presence all throughout the world and what needs to get accomplished. I've enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to more of it as time goes on.
Wow, Ro, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. When I think about one of the things that we talk about all the time at Trey in terms of what we've learned through sport is that we have more in common with everyone around us than we do have differences, right? And so you just touched on so many components of that it's just incredibly powerful to hear how your experiences have taken you from culture to culture, from place to place, and now you're an international ambassador when it comes to so many of these causes. So hats off to you, and thank you so much. Ro, I'm going to stick with you for just a second. So if we can, let's dig a little bit deeper regarding some of the lessons basketball has taught you. For all those athletes watching and listening at home now live, as well as the hundreds that are going to watch this on repeat as well. You told me in one of our recent conversations that no one starts as a megastar, that failure is a part of the trick. And I was hoping maybe you could tell us just a little bit about what it was like for you to overcome tough times or adversity through sport.
I think it's important for everyone to note and understand that the important thing is to being able to find out all the requirements of what you want to do, whatever that is. If you're going to choose sport, is to being able to understand what makes a good player, and see if you can do that. But take your time in getting there, understanding that the left hand, right hand shooting, how far can I shoot the arc? What are you looking at? Are you looking at the whole rim or a piece of the rim, the arc format, these fingertips that are getting to the basket? Are you pointing? You start incrementally getting there, but the important factor is to never to stop. You see, for me, I got my basketball snatched from me when I went to the park in Brooklyn, New York, because I grabbed the basketball and started to run with it, did not know that I needed to dribble the ball in order to make the next play. So with that, that's where I started at 10 years old. But the important thing is that I got a chance to learn incrementally. If you don't stop and you have the opportunity to build the skill, that's what development is all about. That's what self-development is all about. And the idea of the whole thing is to have a burning fire inside of you for focus, because that'll help you in the classroom to being able to get done what you need to do. Yes, you have to read those 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 chapters before the test, not 8 of them, and it'll build those same skills with that. But at the end of the day, failure is part of what you're trying to get accomplished, period. You are going to fail because you're asking for things that others have at a higher level, and you want to integrate yourself into that. It's okay, it's fine, it's hard, but go at it with all the fervor you possibly can if that's what you want to do. And the important factor for me is to be able to have those things with others that share those same goals and values, so that you can come together in that kind of a thing. Going back to school, people love to go to the library. I love to go to the library. People, oh, no, don't go. I love to go to the library, have an opportunity to get those tests taken care of, having the opportunity to study with other people. So when the test came, bang, I knew exactly what was happening with that because I spent the time, just like in basketball, the same thing. Get this left hand working just like your right hand. If you're right-handed, got to get that left hand working sweet. So it becomes a second nature piece, but it takes time to get there and being able to incrementally build. I didn't get a chance to understand and be good at the game until I was a junior in high school. By the time I got to be a junior, that's when I could do pretty much everything. And then from there, you start to keep building the emotional cycle that you need to play wherever you are. In Brooklyn now, I got to be a little tougher, got to be a little stronger. I got to build other things now, the internal piece of what goes on, mental strength, being able to, but the development comes incrementally. Focus, understand the requirements, and continue the trek. You know that movie, that Book of Eli, where you're just walking because you have a goal toward that trek. You see it, have others help you with it. They'll see you walking toward it, and you'll see how many people gather around you to take it, but you've got to bring the fire yourself. You have got to bring the fire starter all the time. If you bring that, people see, they'll be throwing logs on your bonfire. They'll be throwing those logs on your bonfire. And with that, it's exactly where you need to go, because either way, you'll get to where you're doing basketball, or you'll be doing something else, because you're on that road to success. And you love it and others love it, and they want to be around you in the same way. Passion is yours. Bring it. That's what's important.
I'm ready to run through the wall. I feel like it really reminds me of the Jimmy V quote where he talks about, don't give up, don't ever give up. I just feel like you have such a passion for life, for basketball, for everything that you do, Rose. So again, thank you for sharing all that passion with us tonight.
Thank you, Brian.
And Ben, in one of our recent conversations, you told me, you basically quoted, you said, what you do on the court or field matters, but who you are off the court will change your life. And you also told me, you have to ask yourself, what difference can I make? What's my legacy going to be? So can you talk a little bit about the characteristics and the mentality that you take from basketball and apply in your personal life as it relates to your legacy and how you want to change others' lives off the court?
Brian, absolutely. I think a couple of things that are important are believing in yourself and surrounding yourself with those who also believe in you. A mentor, if you will, a coach, parents, obviously, family members, because that is going to help you tremendously. And I say that because, and to Ro, to your point about, the never giving up, absolutely, just continue to keep going. And I'll share this with everybody. Obviously, at 15, I decided, I'm going to be a pro basketball in Australia. That's what I'm going to do. That's a goal and a dream of mine. That was at 15. At the age of 27, that dream and that goal was realized. So there's a 12-year period there where you could go either way at any given time. Having been told, too small, too slow, not strong enough, don't play any defense. Well, that one was questionable. Anyway, more of a shooter. But anyway, I laugh looking back now. But with that, if you believe those things about yourself, then you don't get to where you want to get to. You got to continue to keep persevering, continue to surround yourself with those who do believe in you. And I ask our audience, tonight is, or when you get a chance to watch this, is really think about who is a mentor for you and what does that actually mean. Is it someone who looks out for you, someone who has your best interest in mind, your best interest at heart? For me, very fortunate to have mum and dad and my brother and my family really supportive and really understanding. But sometimes there's tough conversations that need to be had from someone else. You aren't working hard enough. Your attitude isn't where it needs to be right now. You didn't play very much tonight because you sat on the bench and you just slouched back and you weren't engaged or involved. That's the reason why you didn't play tonight. So don't do that again. That's coming from someone else who you look up to and respect and understand that, okay, I'll change that. And so, both of those are obviously extremely important with, with continuing to grow as a person, as a player. Brian, you mentioned off court. And I say this now, and I mentioned to groups that I speak with, it just ultimately just be nice. Just be a nice person. And if you are a nice person, it's amazing what comes back your way. And what does that actually mean? Am I nice? I think I am. I believe I am. Well, that's it. That once again, you self-reflect. You believe in yourself, but you also take a look at yourself and say, maybe this situation, came about, and how did I handle it? What could I do different next time? If any situation happens, the first thing I do, and I know I talk to our team about this, is, what could I have done different to change the outcome? Always look here first, and that can change the outlook in the future, but just the outlook in general in other situations that may come up. So, that's very important to me. And, obviously we mentioned legacy, or, what are you trying to do? And I'll use Texas Wesleyan as the example. I was there for 2 years, had a great opportunity to get my degree, which was, I mentioned, the priority, and got a chance to play some basketball as well at the NAIA level, which was tremendous. But, with that being said, it is, what impact am I having? What impact can I have with the work that I put in? And sometimes, it's right there in front of you and very intentional. And other times it just happens because of the person you are and how hard you work and what you bring. And so, for me, with that, looking back now on both, obviously, college experiences at SFA and Texas Wesleyan, and looking back at their programs and what they're doing now and the facilities that they have, and obviously the opportunities they get, for additional exposure in both of those programs, you like to think you're a small part of that. You were part of influencing that in a really positive way, that those particular programs, or anything that I'm involved in, will continue to grow and be better for it because of my presence and my involvement. So, that's a big part of me, big part of my makeup, big part of my family growing up, and what was part of our character, and part of our values, and just, once again, just so fortunate to be able to share those and hopefully influence others along the way, that, but no doubt, are probably doing it right now anyway. But then it just gives them a chance to think about it and go, yeah, this is me, and this is the impact that I can have with everyone and all that I'm involved with.
Two things that you just said really jump out at me. The first is, we're all a part of something, the people who come before us, as well as the people who come after us. And we're all united in really the way that we approach our craft, right? And to think about, how you can better yourself through self-reflection, I think is incredibly powerful. So it's like you're reading my mind over here, and it's a perfect segue into where I'm headed next, which is, we talked about this a little bit with Dirk last summer, but for our second to last question before we open up for Q&A, and wanted to let all the folks in the audience know to start getting your questions ready and put them in the chat. We would love to talk about, what we're seeing in sports today with the racial equity movement. What's amazing to us at Trey Athletes, and Ro, you already mentioned a little bit about this too. You go to a Mavericks game here in Dallas, and it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, or brown. Sports, and more specifically, athletes like you guys, really bring people together. And so would love to hear from both of you, if you could talk a little bit about your reactions to, generally the racial equity movement, or maybe more specifically to the Mavs team and players speaking out about racial equity. And now we're seeing it with the Mavs investing in our community through the Mavs Take Action initiative. So it feels like a really exciting time as it relates to sports and race and equality, and would love to hear your guys' thoughts.
I'll start with that. I think for the racial equity programs, I think it's very, very important for people just to be able to look inside their soul and tell the truth. Be able to understand that humanity is standing right in front of you, and you understand that when you see something that's wrong, say so. Don't cover up and say things that are not the truth, and making sure that you understand that when somebody gets shot or something happens that's inordinate and it doesn't work out, that it's also societal, that's important to know that this person is a part of society, whether they're black, whether they're white, whether they're from this country or not this country. It's important to note and understand that, for me, is to being able to know that everyone has to get together. If you give people the value and you give people the respect of living life within the country, and really having an opportunity to being able to format the things in policy and in day-to-day that will give everybody a chance to move forward. I'm from another country. I grew up in the United States. And the important factor is I know and understand so many different pieces of the puzzle that goes on here in the United States. And it's really a special brand, a special country, a special opportunity. And we always have the chance to be great within the whole scope of making sure that everyone gets an opportunity in a format to being able to put themselves in the proper place, jobs, whether it's the life they live, whether it's the opportunities that are there. It's up to the country, the people inside of this country, to being able to make it so when you talk about America being great, when you talk about the things that are prosperous, but respect and value and really the opportunity comes from the people itself. We are the ones who say yes and no to the facts and to the format of how we live and what we live for. I love the United States and I understand it, but I understand it from some of the things that Dr. King is saying when you're talking about living and making sure that you understand the person from the content of their character. It's very important. I walk around Dallas today, Rolando Blackman this, Rolando Blackman that, but for me, I walk in a room and I want to know the person. Do they like the Rangers? Do they like the Cowboys? Are they watching the Mavericks? Do they like baseball? What are they doing? I'm a tennis part. I want to find out about the people and understand about the people, whether they're black, white, whatever the situation is. But the important fact is I learned that early. I'm not looking at people like they're this and they're this color, that. I'm trying to figure out who they are inside. What are they trying to do? How are we coming together? Do you like hot dogs? Like for me, I want mayonnaise on my hot dog. I'm telling, and it's an opportunity to hear somebody else like something else it's just coming together socially, but being able to do that with value and respect and understanding the other side of the person's story and making sure that there's a value added piece to their lives also, which is how I grow up and how I involve myself with people and being able to get it done. And it's an important piece of the puzzle that has to be ingrained into what more of American society is, because we're dealing with something right now where people are burying their heads and not telling the truth about what they see, and being able to make sure and step up to the value in life that's going on every day. That's what I have to say about that.
Wow, could not agree more with everything that you just said, Ro. Although the one thing I might take offense to is this mayonnaise on a hot dog idea, but that's just me, I guess. But this idea of how diversity can make us stronger, and how learning about people and cultures through sport and really uniting in those efforts is what brings us together as people. So we get incredibly excited talking about that type of stuff. So Ben, would love to hear kind of your thoughts on all that we're seeing right now as it relates to the racial equity movement through sports.
Thank you, Brian. Yes, during times like this, once again, extremely fortunate to be part of an organization such as the Dallas Mavericks, because with issues, situations that arise, social injustice, we're at the forefront. We are there. I remember early June last year, we had our courageous conversations in Victory Plaza. And for me, obviously growing up in a country with a very, very high percentage of who look like me, this for me is a huge time to listen, learn, and unite, and understand what other cultures have gone through and are going through. Understand, what it is what it is like for many who do live here in the United States. And, for me, obviously, to be fortunate enough to get a chance to play college basketball, to have more than 3/4 of my teammates were Black. And I just thrived in that environment, because once I got a chance to learn different cultures and understand different backgrounds, which was tremendous for me to understand, having not grown up here. And secondly, is just, and Roy mentioned earlier, just become good friends. We're in this for the same reason, and that's on the basketball court. And again, another reason why sports we're talking about, basketball in particular, brings everybody together. When we get back there, and we've been there before, in the stands. It shouldn't matter next to. We're here for the same reason. That's to support our team and get us to a championship and a trophy above our heads. So, really, especially over the last, several months, it's been really, really important for me. It's been really beneficial for me to be able to be in an environment where I can learn, I can understand, I can listen, and then to be able to share, perhaps my experiences, but also two experiences that I don't know about and that I need to understand moving forward. And so and our Mavs Take Action, you mentioned that, Brian, that's a phenomenal initiative that we have. And it doesn't mean you need to anything that we're involved in. We'll involve ourselves. We are currently within the Mavs Academy with clinics and camps and courageous conversations and understanding each other to better each other across the board. And that's what I'm excited about moving forward. And that's what, during some extremely difficult times for more than one reason, especially over this last 12 months, has meant to me. And we as a staff, we as an organization, we're in small groups, we're in meetings within our department to share, to feel comfortable in sharing our thoughts and our feelings and what we're all going through, which is all different, but it's just that, again, that chance to listen and understand. And I encourage everybody to do that if you can, to not say, oh, that doesn't concern me, it doesn't relate to me. Yes, it does. It relates to us all. And especially as we're all here in the US, it's and for me, I'm just extremely blessed to be here, to have these opportunities that I could continually get, but also too to help others when I can, but also too to sit back and I'll mention those three words: listen, to learn, and unite with others. So we'll all be better for it.
Wow, I'm taking that one home with me for sure. Listen, learn, and unite. And I think that a lot of good can come from that for all of us. So I want to make sure that we save some time for questions here too, because we got some great stuff here. And I know that Rebecca is going to check with Coach Kenny Jones to see if he wants to come on and ask his questions. So in the meantime, and while she's doing that, I also wanted to let you know, Rode, that Coach Charity Hairston wanted everyone present to be aware that she also loves mayonnaise on her hot dogs. So you are not alone in your endeavors.
There you go. There you go.
And just absolutely love to see people come from different places, from different cultures, and really share those experiences. Hot dogs, mayo, and all. So we have Coach Kenny Jones coming on right now to ask both of you guys a question or two. And Rebecca and Amber, I'm going to turn it over to you so that we can bring Coach Jones up and onto the screen. And I know that here we go, joining now.
All right. Good evening, guys. Thank you. Sorry about that. I got a new computer, so I wanted to get on the nice computer tonight, and it's got ways of learning things. My question, and I'm actually at Thomas Jefferson High School. Basketball has been my thing over the years. This past year, I moved over to coaching football. So I joined Trey athletes from a standpoint of football, but in reality, as I'm hearing a lot about this basketball part of this thing, I'm just in awe right now. Thank you guys for sharing your stories. As we've had our training from a coaching standpoint, we've shared ours. And my question tonight for you guys was, who was your favorite athlete growing up? And how did you look at them, and who helped you with your brand? Who helped you with your branding and to savor your legacy? Because at some point, when you sign your professional contracts, some people waste their money, spend their money, and then some people turn into a business side of it, as you guys were explaining. But someone had to help you through that process. So who was your favorite athlete, and who helped you with your branding and your legacy?
I think we are losing Coach Jones on audio there for just a second, but who was your favorite athlete? How did you sort of mimic and replicate that individual in terms of helping you with your brand and building your legacies?
Wonderful, Coach Jones. Oh, you go,
Go
Rod.
ahead,
No,
go ahead, Ben. Go ahead, Ben.
All right, thanks, Rod. Coach Jones, thank you. Great questions. And So growing up, obviously, as we know, in Australia, I had Charles Barkley on my wall as a poster, and each time I got a chance to see the Sixers play, that was huge. And also too, Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson in the guard position, certainly could relate from a height standpoint, and really just the way he carried himself on the court, just his desire, his heart, his work ethic. I may have even been known Coach Jones to give the, let me hear you once or twice, which AI was famous for. So both of those, growing up, we had a chance to look at many athletes within Australian sports as well. Aussie rules football and cricket were big growing up. But as it relates to the NBA and basketball, they were two that were huge. Another one, obviously locally in Australia, Andrew Gaze, name may ring a bell. Seton Hall, went to college and had much success internationally, representing Australia in the Olympics, and of course playing for the Melbourne Tigers in the NBL. So both of those, all those athletes who I looked up to for many of the same reasons. And in regards to, obviously mentors or who has helped post. Actually, one locally I will mention is Coach Mike Kunstadt. He's been very influential in my my professional career, post basketball career. Has helped me tremendously. And my boss, Greg Nard, has just been a huge leader for me within this business, within this space, within professional sports, with his experience as well. So both of those gentlemen have been extremely influential, and I continue to stay in contact with today and reach out and ask questions and talk to about life, and they continue to advise and help me in every way they can. So
the round rebound and the answer, who do you got, Rolando?
My goodness, I think something growing up with, like I was telling you guys, the incremental pieces of trying to learn was the reason I shot the ball catch and shoot, was because I saw Dollar Bill Bradley. I don't know, people don't know who Dollar Bill Bradley is from the championship teams with the New York Knicks. Every time I saw him catch the ball without dribbling, just catch it and put it in the hole, I was hooked. I was practicing that on the field, on the courts all the time in Brooklyn. And then I saw Hondo Havlicek from the Celtics. He was roaming around, running, shooting, popping, putting the ball on the floor, doing one-handed bank shots, going through the whole thing. And then Dr. J, Julius, oh my goodness, the doctor was, it was just you can never forget the doctor when he was younger, to being able to play that game. And the last person was Clyde Frazier. Clyde Frazier was a guy that was coached by my same college coach, Jack Hartman, at Southern Illinois Salukis. And I was being coached by the same guy, Jack Hartman, at K-State. So I became just a Clyde Frazier fan watching the game. So all those things are multiple pieces of the puzzle that you take bits and pieces from everybody, and you're able to mold that into your game, and being able to come up. It's never one thing. It's always the multiple that makes that whole thing sweet. And for me, the biggest thing was I had mentors. I can't tell you that I have mentors. My dad left the house when I was 12, 13 years old. He left the house and my mom was there. My mom was there by herself, going to work and coming back in with her accounting job that she had. But in the street, I had a guy by the name of Ted Gustus. And Ted had the community kids all around teaching us, talking to us, sit up straight, stand up straight, look them in the eye, make sure you put that, did you do your homework? So he was out there telling us all these types of things, plus teaching us the game. We'd go to church, we'd go to all kinds of different places with Ted. Ted was our father in those moments growing up. But the important factor with that is that you've got to be able to understand and listen to people who care about you, understanding right from wrong, but understanding also where you want to go. You have to get on out there and not be that leaf that's just blowing in the wind, letting anybody tell you what to do. You've got to be able to have a thought process. Even if you change later, be on your way somewhere. Be on your way. Focus in on what you want to do, and being able to get those people around you to help you. And it's a wonderful situation going through. So that's what I have to say about that. It was a heck of a time growing up, though. Dollar Bill, put that ball in the hole. Don't dribble. That's for sure. That was special.
That's incredible. And Coach Jones, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's always great to see you, and shout out Thomas Jefferson. I think we have time for one more question. So we're going to bring on, we have another coach who is anxious to ask y'all a question, who I know Rebecca and Amber are going to be elevating. Already got him. Coach, welcome. How are you doing? Feel free to hop on and unmute yourself to ask your question. I can't hear you, Coach. Maybe you guys can, are you guys struggling to hear him as well? Can't hear you yet. I think we're having a little bit of audio visual difficulty.
I saw Coach there for a minute. I saw him just for a second there.
Coach, I can see you, but I cannot hear you.
Got to learn like me, tap that screen and untap that screen and unmute. That's what.
So technical difficulties aside, I have his question, and I'm gonna voice it over for you. We're gonna do a lip sync action going on here, Coach. So Coach's question is, what's the greatest impact a coach has ever had on you, and what advice would you offer today's high school coaches as it relates to their influence?
Ben, I'm gonna take this one first. The important factor is to being able to nurture the pieces of the puzzle as far as the kids' makeup that's concerned. Basketball is a part of the whole puzzle learning and being able to put together all the actionables, which is great. But you've got to be able to functionally understand this little work of art that you have in front of you, and being able to fill those pieces. Because I'm boisterous now because I'm extra confident and understand myself, and I'm older now. But I was a quiet kid, kind of quiet and didn't understand. And coaches are the ones who helped me to being able to have those building blocks. Not only do they go to integrity, not only do they go to perseverance, not only do they go to the character piece, the understanding of focus, what the intensity levels are that needs to get done. All those things have to be inputted, instituted in that kind of a thing, to being able to teach about society, learn about different things that are happening in and around school. It's not being a friend, but it's being the closest teacher and developer of a life that's caring, and in that get a chance to teach the game of basketball, because it's very important. You have them when their parents don't have them. That's huge, and it's a big responsibility. Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a couple of things that come to mind is, is giving the athlete, giving your player a chance to share with you their goals, what they would like to do, where they see themselves. That's obviously extremely important. And then from that conversation is, I'm now going to help you and show you how to do that. Because a lot of times in high school, and I was, a great example of that, I wanted to work hard. I wanted to get better. I wanted to reach a goal, which I've mentioned tonight. But how do I do that? Like, how do I actually get there? What is involved? What do I need to do? Is there a plan? How often should I do it? Can I get some gym space and opportunities? And that really comes back to my next point. And I've actually stolen this from Sid Sabalas, who said this at one of our chalk talks last season, was coach everyone. Coach everyone, because you never know. Rose, another great example. It didn't start playing. Made the team as I'm going to steal your thunder a little bit, Ro, here, but you make the team as a sophomore, and you junior, you're getting going, you're elevated, and all of a sudden you're a NBA All-Star. Said he's coach everyone, and I love that, because that wherever you are, if the freshman comes in and says, how do I get better? This is what I want. Here's the program for you. Here's what I've got for you. I'm going to show you. This is what you need to do. And then all of a sudden there's accountability in place. I'm not there. Why aren't I there? Well, let's go back and visit our previous conversations. Let's have a look. Well, I haven't been doing that. I had to do this and I did that. And I had to, okay, well then let's refocus a little bit. Let's regroup here and let's continue to work. Maybe this direction will help you. Because sometimes too, we work so hard and we're going in the wrong direction. We're thinking up here that we're working hard. So that's a couple of things, Coach, that yeah, thank you. That certainly has helped me is the guidance, the direction from coach, from a mentor, obviously both on the court as a coach, and now I've got mentors off the court in my professional career that have helped and guided and said, this is the direction, this is the path. It's now up to you. And so just that little knowledge, that understanding, that the reasons why, the purpose behind, can definitely help. And like I said, that last part was just coach everyone.
Wow. So just to kind of tie all this together, I think what we've heard tonight is that we're looking for, uniting and inspiring both in and through sport. We're looking for equality in and through sport. We're creating change and bringing people together through sport. So the power of sports really has the ability and has impacted both of your guys' lives in incredibly powerful ways that we're really thankful to have heard from tonight. So, with that, our Q&A with Ben and Rolando is unfortunately coming to a close. Guys, through your experiences and your stories, thank you so much for talking with us tonight about the power and the culture of sport as a part of Trey Season 3. And in advance of passing it right back to LaJoy, I know that Rebecca launched our polling for tonight. And on behalf of every single one of us, as well as every single one of our Trey athletes and coaches and families, thank you so much for joining us. LaJoy, take it home.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you again for your amazing insights, sharing your experiences with us, and just for being such incredible role models for all the athletes we have on our call tonight, and just all the athletes you've inspired throughout your careers. And Brian, thank you for doing such an incredible job here moderating this conversation. I definitely learned a lot. Listen, learn, unite from Rolando, and then coach everyone. I'm definitely going to take that with me, Mr. Van Hunt. So the survey is live right now, so definitely take time to answer this quick 2-question survey so we can have some feedback on your experience tonight. For all of our coaches who we have online, please don't forget that you and your athletes should also be completing a debrief session feedback survey at the conclusion of your debrief session, and make sure you do your debrief session as soon as possible. A couple of reminders: if you have athletes who were not able to be a part of this amazing discussion tonight, we will be posting this to our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our channel to receive notifications every time we post something, so that you can be on the lookout for this amazing conversation we had tonight and all of our future Fireside Chats. We encourage everyone to post about this Fireside Chat and to tag us at Trey Athletes on social media. Thank you to everyone for coming out tonight. And we do have another Fireside Chat coming up next week, so we're going to drop the link in that. So don't forget to register for that. So thank you for coming out. And to athletes everywhere, have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.